Mouth Experience Monday. On this episode, Dude blinds the fellas with the 2024 Maker's Mark Heart release. Find out how it gets rated on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. Have you thought about supporting our podcast? Head on over to our website at www.bourbonhunters.com where you can by purchasing Bourbon Hunters products and sign up for our Patreon, which includes exclusive access to single barrel announcements from our private single barrel club. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Dude Poole, and I'm joined by
Brett Ryan.
And we've got Pours de Fritter here.
Pours de Fritter.
Say hello for Pours.
Hello.
Oh.
So we are here
very
for
white.
a Mouth Experience Monday, and I'm providing the blind today. So as always, we blind this so that there are no biases in our reviews.
We can be sure it's not a repeat, too.
Yeah, we can probably be sure of that, because if you're listening last week, then you heard one that I did all by myself.
3 weeks apart.
Yeah. Oh, well. What are you going to do? So, as always, I provide the blind, so they have no idea what they're tasting. They're going to nose it. They're going to taste it. They're going to rate it. I'll give a little hint and see if they can figure it out, and then we'll go from there. And hopefully it should be a 100% unbiased tasting and review. All right, guys. What do you guys get on the nose?
Definitely like molasses, brown sugar. There's a sweet note in this for me, for sure.
Okay.
Like a richness.
I'm getting like a latte.
A latte of what?
Coffee.
A latte coffee.
A latte coffee. All right. Well, that's
It's
not
just
bad.
a rich note in general.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Is it pleasant? Do you like it? Is
Yeah.
it,
It's pleasant for sure. It's not unpleasant by any means.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. That
I feel like I'm outside. It's winter, snow on the ground, and the trees. It's just got this like very organic kind of.
What do you mean by
nose.
organic?
Like just a mixture of like your pines that kind of you get little
Do you get
whiffs.
like a pine note out of
A
this?
little bit
Really?
I didn't really get anything on that. Are you talking taste or just the nose?
on the
stuff?
nose.
Yeah, I'm not really getting any pine. I'm getting, like you said, molasses, kind of sweetness. Your typical bourbon, like vanilla, brown sugary, molasses kind of stuff. But
I mean, I may convince myself of a baking spice, if that's what you mean by pine.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a little bit of spice there for sure. But outside of that, I'm not getting.
Did you eat a pine cone on the way over?
No,
Okay. Spearmint gum?
maybe.
Did you take a sip?
Not yet.
Oh.
I'm still enjoying the nose, actually. But I'm going to dive in
Wintergreen
now.
snuff?
Wintergreen snuff. First drink of the day. Get past that visceral reaction, but it's not. It's not bad so far. One drink in. I had to let it kind of sit there for a second because I wasn't real sure where it was going to go. But the sweetness tends to come through on the sides of the tongue, and it even continues on to the back of the tongue for me.
It does seem viscous, long finish.
You know that feeling that you have on your tongue right after you eat like a Tootsie Roll? I'm not saying I get chocolate or cocoa, but it's got that like lingering effect of like.
No, but I could see that. Definitely, I do get a little bit of a maybe dark chocolate kind of presence on the finish.
There's a cacao, I think. I agree. And maybe that's what
Would
I'm
you
getting on
call
the
me?
nose now. Some cacao.
Cacao. Did you see that I am on the list of people who were closest to the score for the bourbon giveaway on our bourbon social page?
Yep.
I did not.
I said 33 to 31.
I said 38 to 24, and 3 of us guessed that. I was one of the 3. I didn't think that the Eagles were going to. I thought they would pull away. I thought it would be close early, and then they'd pull away. I didn't think it was going to be the drubbing early, and then Kansas City kind of scoring some points late. I thought it was going to be Saquon in the second half just really adding to the score and allowing the Eagles to pull away, but it just it just exploded quick, man.
It was Jalen Hurts' arm.
Well, I mean, it was a lot of things. The defense of the Eagles was smothering in the first half. They had 1 first down at halftime.
How many sacks?
I don't know.
Mahomes?
I don't know, but they had 1 first down at halftime. The Chiefs.
Damn.
That's impressive. I think they had 11 by the end of the game.
They
got 10 in the second half, but only 1 in the first half. That's crazy.
They had like 28 yards with a minute to go in the second quarter.
Oh,
That's
total
insane.
yards?
Yeah,
well,
Kansas City.
1 first down. It makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean,
It was not a very entertaining game to watch.
it was entertaining for me because I did not want Kansas City to win a third in a row. So
I get that.
I was enjoying it. I was actually a little loud, and Ellen was a little complaining about my loudness. All right, so what do we get on the what else do we get on the palette?
See, I'm thrown off by what I think the proof is.
What do you think the proof is?
It's to me, it's like a little elevated, but I don't want to go too high. I feel like I'm being tricked somehow.
I don't do what you guys do. I don't usually try to trick you guys.
I think it's around 110, personally. I think it's around 110. This is me like completely spitballing, but I feel like age would be like 8 to 9 years, maybe somewhere in that area.
I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't like a Four Roses single barrel strength.
It
Around
could
the
be.
111, the 113 proof.
Yeah, it could be. I would definitely agree that that's possible. The thing with those is they're really hard to like. For me, they're Four Roses single barrel proofs. It's sometimes hard to recognize those because all the different yeast strains and there's so many different flavor profiles with
Right.
them.
Just so you guys know, I don't generally pick a barrel,
Single
a barrel strength of anything unless it's something that's a shelfer.
Yeah.
Like I'll do like the Elijah Craig 18 I did a few weeks ago. That was a shelfer. I'll do some like a Russell single barrel that's a shelfer, not a pick from a store.
I don't think you would do a store per se, but I could see you doing like a picked by Brent Elliott from the gift shop. Because a lot of those are...
But I wouldn't probably ever do, because you're never going to see that again. Whereas the shelfers, they try to find a certain profile when they're putting those up. Like, for example, if you're using the Four Roses example, their original Four Roses single barrel that was 100 proof, they try to find a... Just like they do with, Blanton's, they try to find a constant profile, or at least with a little bit of variation, but they want that main profile to stay the same.
Because I'm getting like a burnt caramel. I'm getting a little bit like of leather texture, or like that Tootsie Roll candy texture to it.
Yeah.
I'm getting some brown sugar. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla, like Charleston Chew.
Yeah, confectioner sugar for sure in this. Any hints? Any?
Well, you guys have to rate it. You have to rate it first.
I really like it. I could sit here and have another pour of it, so I'm going to give it like a good old 3.85.
Yeah, I'm somewhere similar. I'll say 3.7, 3.8. We'll
Okay.
call it 3.75. I'll land right in the middle.
All right.
Average 3.8.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, my first hint is that this was a 2024 limited edition,
Oh,
limited release.
maybe I should give it higher.
I don't necessarily think that you need to give it higher just because it's a limited release, but
Is it non-chill filtered?
Non-chill filtered.
not chill filtered. I will tell you also that the mash bill is 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley.
That's that high malted barley, I think, is what we're kind of tasting.
Yep.
That would give you the chocolatey kind of,
That's where I think.
yeah, okay.
70% corn.
I know. I'm trying to think who does that much Cohen.
So the team that released this,
The team.
I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't give anything away.
I see.
The team that released this is the entire distillery team from that particular distillery. And the name of this release is named for that reason, as a little bit of a nod to that group. So what was the secondary grain?
Wheat.
So that means it is a wheated bourbon.
Yeah.
Would you like to know the proof?
Yes.
It is 111.7.
I said 110.
Yep. We're both right
and
there.
you even came in after he talked you into it and said, I could see it being a 111.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. So 111.7 proof. It is non-age stated, so I can't really speak to the age you were getting on the 8 years type of thing. Any hints?
Is it Kentucky?
It is from Kentucky, yes. And we have been there.
Is it something from Jim Beam is what I'm wondering.
Do you know of any weeded bourbons from Jim
No,
Beam?
that's a good point. Just the whole family thing is what I'm trying to think of, like family type things.
Is
You're
this-
correct, though. I completely glazed over the...
Well, family was not necessarily blood family.
Is this from Lux Row?
It is not. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you. What were you said 385, you said what?
375.
Okay. This is Maker's Mark, the Heart Release of 2024.
Oh, okay.
And they called it the Heart Release because it is inspired by the distillery team at Maker's Mark, who are known as the heart of the operation.
I see.
So that's why it's called the Heart Release. And this is part of their wood finishing series.
Yep.
Number collection. So
Number one of the new
of
series.
the new series, yeah. So what do you guys think?
I've always
like
liked
it.
this pour,
Yeah.
so I'm not surprised they gave it a 385.
Yeah.
It's still
I like
a good
it.
good
I
score.
haven't had this since I originally bought it and opened it, and I enjoyed it then, and I'm enjoying it tonight. And I never gave a rating just because I was letting you guys do it, but I'd be right in that same ballpark, probably 375.
I've never had it, honestly. This is my first time.
Oh, is it
It's
really?
enjoyable, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest, it didn't really drink like a weeder to me.
Yeah, I was going to say
That's
that.
why, and
I wonder if that proof point adds to that, and I wonder if they use any like the spiciness. They have a couple of staves that can give that spiciness to the wood finishing. You know, if you do a private select.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe that's what they did.
See, I would love to try that Lost Recipe Mocha release that they did.
Whose they did.
Maker's Mark.
They did it, and
They did like a lost recipe from the Mocha stave that they had removed from their stave profiles. And I'd like to compare that to the Heart release. They were both released last year.
oh, really? I never heard of that one you're talking about.
Mhm.
Interesting. All right. Well, real quick, I know that it is mentioned at the opening of the podcast, but we do have a Patreon now. Well, we've had a Patreon, but we actually have tiers and memberships available on that Patreon now. You can find all of our podcasts there, too. We will be doing special releases for that Patreon. But the big news about that Patreon is that you will be able to get first access to any of our barrel picks that we are doing through the Bourbon Hunters podcast. So you'll have first rights to claim a bottle or multiples as being part of our listener group. And then we also have a tier that allows you, if you're interested, to be included in a barrel pick with our podcast at least once a year. So check that out. It is at our website, bourbonhunters.com. At the top in the menu, you can see the option for the, barrel selection club or something like that. So if you become part of that club, you get first access to our releases. You also get a whole bunch of inside information at the distilleries. We're going to, as we go to the distilleries to do the picks, we're going to kind of give you a video tour when we go to those distilleries, so that you can actually see that in our Patreon. You can view, and we can kind of narrate like what you're seeing. And if you've never been to the Bourbon Trail or been to any of these distilleries, it'll be a little bit of a, behind the scenes insight or view into those distilleries. So
And night before preview episode, only access on Patreon.
yeah, we're gonna provide some information that makes it worth your while to actually provide. The opening tier is just $5 a month. I think most people can generally handle that when they're buying $6 lattes, as you like to say. So if you can, give us a little support. Some of the tiers actually allow you to get some Bourbon Hunter swag after a few months of being a member. And then, as I mentioned, the other one gives you that possibility of being included in a barrel pick. So if you've never done one, check out our Patreon. See if you think it's worth it. And if you've been following along and following our barrel picks, then I think most of you have enjoyed those, and that's just kind of continuing that access for you. So
What do we have lined up so far?
we'll talk about that in our next episode.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys. See you next week for another Mouth Experience Monday. Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening, but if you don't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can better improve our show. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon. The Bourbon Hunters podcast has been craft distilled, produced, recorded, and edited by Dude Pool. For any questions, comments, or recommendations, please reach out to info@bourbonhunters.com